Are. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Nice to connect with you today.
Yeah, thank you so much for meeting with me, and thank you so much for the intro course. It was really fantastic.
Oh, good. I'd love to know some takeaways that you had that were, meaningful or impactful for you.
Sure. I think, well, one, I only did the self massage on the left side, and I really was planning to like rewatch it and do the right side, but I actually have been enjoying like continuing to see if I still like notice like an effectual difference. And so that was really powerful. And like I always tell people that it will have a lasting effect, but it was nice to have like the comparison. Um yeah, I mean like I think maybe in some ways like I still have a different sensation, although I don't know if I've like because I'm looking for it, I've like put a little emotional wrapping into it to feel different, but for sure, like at least I don't know what today is. Today is like a full week later, or oh yeah, it's a full week later. Certainly, definitely still like on Tuesday, I was like telling someone about it, and I was like, yeah, I was like, I still feel different. That's kind of neat.
That's so
So,
amazing. I love it. Oh, that's good. And it's a good this descriptor having it on one side of your body instead of the other, because then you can really tell the difference.
yeah, and like especially because I feel like with working on something that is an issue or like an injury, I work a lot and like injury recovery and so like of course you might do something more on one side or do something totally different or only like focus on maybe that or related aspects related to something that's going on, which I'm often is on one side of the body and not the other or and so um it doesn't have like the same comparison effect as like just being like this is my normal feeling and then yeah. So that's kind of neat. I thought that was like very powerful.
Amazing. I
Um,
love it.
yeah, and then I think the other one was like, I don't know. I definitely like just like was a little weepy a lot of times through the process, and that surprised me a little bit. And sorry, when I have my do not disturb on, if I'm plugged in, it doesn't care. So
Oh,
weird. Or if
that's a
I have
bummer.
headphones on, I don't know why that is. Like I
Oh,
don't know why. It's like if I'm wearing headphones or if I'm plugged in, it just is like, or like with Zoom, like it will dispel, like it won't ring out loud to my phone, but for some reason I don't know. I haven't been able to
they'll,
figure it out.
they'll still send you notifications. Something's going on.
Excuse me.
So which are the parts that sort of made you feel weepy?
I think like in the beginning, just like being in the community, like it was really nice. I think there's just a lot of isolation. Um, just like I don't know. I've been on the road a bunch and just like being an individual practitioner, I don't have as much interaction and then I don't know, like well, I lived outside of DC at the turn of the COVID pandemic. So it just was a lot longer lasting and we were really tight. And I stopped doing like massage and in-person human things completely for a long time. And so yeah, I just like that continued isolation. It was really nice. It was like uh yeah. So I don't know. I just like found myself like weeping a few times. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. That means it's
Yeah.
touching you, right? It's having some kind of
Yeah.
like yeah, it's your spirit is getting touched, your heart is getting touched, something's getting touched, and yeah, your body's having a response, which I love. That's so
Yeah,
great.
for sure. Yeah,
Amazing.
and
So
I've
it
like
sounds like you got
talked
some
about it a
good.
lot.
Oh, good. To other
Yeah.
your other colleagues or your friends?
Just yeah, these are my people in my life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so great. So tell me about your practice now. What's your current practice?
My practice is like very confusing. So I like never planned to do massage full time. I lived overseas in Israel and then there was a war, so then I didn't. And my spouse was studying there, and so we like literally were like living in all different places for a while, like here, and then we did leave in February, and then we moved to Florida, and so we like found an apartment in March. But then I do like a lot of music festivals, music and arts festivals, so I've like sort of returned to that part of my life. I have a number of online programs that I created as a result of stopping in person. And I really thought I was going to mostly do that. But then with like the return of in-person work and like loving doing it, I like started doing some workshops in person, like teach yoga and breath work and meditation. And I do like movement assessments, and I do like movement therapy in my online coaching practice. And then I started doing massages, and I'm licensed here. And that was sort of in 2019, I got licensed in Florida so I could move here. And it's just, again, like transferable skill. You can always like pick up work. And so that's kind of like what I'm doing right now. I'm doing some really bizarre things. Like I work in a casino and I give chair massages to people while they're playing poker or slots, which is like the opposite type of work, right? It's like people are like on their phone and playing poker and like talking to people, and you're giving them a massage, and it is therapeutic because a lot of them won't do it, or don't, they have people always have access, but they don't choose it. So it's an interesting thing, but it's like totally just because it was like a job that I could get right away, and I can like pick up work. Like I can just like be like, I'm going to work today, and then I go there, and then I do this thing that's like weird. And so I do that, and then like I've done some I always was like I did in-home training and in-home massage, and so I always did that. So I'm doing some massages for like one of those companies that like Soothe or Zeal, or this one's called Big Toe. So it's basically like a company, people request a massage in like a time bracket, and then if you see the request and it's in your area, then like you can pick it up, kind of thing. So I'm like doing that, and I know like 5 people, and I've done like massages for 2 of them. So I'm like doing that, and I don't really know. I in 2018, I really was like thinking about trying to transition out of doing even as many massages as I was, just because my body was like same kind of thing like you're talking about, minus the like resenting people. I don't really feel that part, but yeah, I just like my body, like people are coming to me for like deep work. I really like doing long sessions. I like being thorough. And then in the pandemic, once I returned to massage, I basically kind of doubled down. I was like, I'm tired of trying to not extend past 90 minutes, and I had already pretty much had it. So I basically was like, if we're doing this, it's a 2 to 3 hour session. So I moved all of my work to like long form, in-depth sessions, except for doing festivals, which I call triage massage. When you're doing like 15 minutes or whatever, someone comes in, you're just like, okay, that's what I call it. Like I do triage massage, and then I do like really in-depth, and now I'm doing this like weird stuff in the middle. So like it was appealing, the idea of like doing lighter work and having a practice that like was more sustainable, that I could be in the touch practice. I just think I'm really good at it, and I like doing it, but I never felt like doing the work that people are like coming to me for. I could do some. Like I can do some. I like doing some. I like variety. So like I've thought about, like I'm like I've given some like deep thought. I'm like, I don't think I'm cut out for a roster of oncology exclusive clients. Like I think even with like all of the shielding and work, like I just don't think that's for me. I don't think I would handle that well over time. I'm like really liked your language around like the different. I thought that was actually really, that wasn't necessarily a takeaway, but I really appreciated the way that you constructed language, and like really worked towards using language around chest surgery and gender affirmation surgery. And like that is appealing to me. And I've had some clients over the years who've gone through surgery, and my spouse is not in any way planning surgery, but like is on the trans spectrum. And so like that is very appealing to me. But I also I have a specialty working with musicians. I think like as a niche like perspective niche concept, like I think it continues to, of course, just be like an underserved and also like underfunded population. So it doesn't feel like, again, like I couldn't see having like just a full roster of all trans clients, even though maybe that would be like very rewarding. I don't think like the funding is really there as a long-term sustainable solution. I mean, I do live in Miami, so it's a large area, but yeah, so like I'm not really sure. I wanted to hear about the academy. I don't think anything really beats mentorship when it comes to um going forth and like building something. I've done a couple of rounds of having online long form class academy coaches. So I liked you, and I liked like where you're coming from. I also thought your webinar design was excellent. Like I talked a lot about it. I'm like you put in a full, not like a hard pitch, but like you spent a lot of time on day 2, which I thought was very interesting, as like a choice versus day 3. And like it was interesting to see how many people showed up live, and I just like appreciated that. I've just explored a lot of different in my own marketing plan for my online coaching, and just thought it was really well done. And like even though I wasn't 100% sure that either of these programs is for me, like right now, I know you're building a movement, and I wanted to talk to you because I was like, even if and I don't know what it costs, but I don't think I'm in a position for this year to embark on a thing. But I'm like, maybe you'll be having a spring semester, or maybe you'll be doing it again in the fall. And so I wanted to talk to you now and see what's available and what's possible, and what it might look like. And like I do think it would be great as a specialization, and I think that it would help me build something that is more sustainable, even if it wasn't like uniformly niched, um like scar tissue work and post-surgical work. And I come from like a background of doing a lot of orthopedic post-op work, so there's some, crossover there too, like, the idea of reaching out to doctors and surgeons and that sort of thing. I was like, yeah, I like that. So yeah, okay, that was a lot, but
That's great. I really love that. Thank you. And it helped me understand more about your practice, more about where you're coming from, more of where your interests lie, how you kind of operate as a person and as a therapist. So that was very useful. Thank you. So what I'm hearing is that right now your practice has been through quite a few changes, some of it because of geography. You made some pretty big, country changes, different
yeah,
parts of the world. Yep.
yeah,
You're using your skills in a variety of different ways. It's pretty flexible. You've got your casino work, you've got your you got like sort of, it sounds like you got a few different kind of part-time things that are all put together to create your practice. And you got some online courses. So it's like you got a whole bunch of things that are all together to try and create a larger business for yourself, but it's not streamlined. It's not like focused. So it's kind
yeah,
of a little bit, yeah, it's kind of like a meandering river. It's all the same river, but it's not one
yeah.
channel. Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to channel. I tried, and I just like I couldn't get it to be enough work to, like, I felt like when we moved overseas, I was at the like 75% online work, and I was like, let's go for it. And then just it was just very challenging. Like a 7-hour time difference was just like more challenging than I anticipated, and just also like moving and wanting to be where you are in space and absorb the experience, and then also try to figure out how to like navigate continuing like challenges online. And like doing work in person. So yeah, like where I'm at is like I'm just trying to like really make enough money to figure out what we're gonna do in our life now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's like I guess it's a practice because it's all those things, but like a lot of them are not. I think like the massage work I'm doing isn't really the work I want to do. And then like I just I think when you spend I just think I've been like really honest about like the amount of trauma that I've like absorbed in the past year, and the amount of like destabilization I chose to embark on in the year before, and like that makes it really difficult to have to like live in a space of long-term vision and to like try to put the work in to do it when you're just like trying to survive. Like I feel like my body is like my brain is in that state. And like maybe that was like part of why I was like weepy too, you know. It's just like, oh, this is so wonderfully structured. That sounds so nice. It kind of makes me feel a little like weepy right now. Yeah, so I think that like that is also important. And so it's like I'm like, wow, yeah, like that sounds awesome. And like I love being in a state of learning. So I think that was also really positive for me. Just like it was really nice that you had like a like to have be to do something 3 days in a row, you know, just to be like, okay, this is like some structured learning. Like, thank goodness. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
bell anchoring. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can appreciate that. And when your life has been through many fluxes, being in something that makes you feel more stable, even for 3 days, can be relieving, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't have to be figuring out everything all the time with all these moving parts. Like
Yeah.
there's a container around me. It's kind of like having a little house for a period of time. So it
Yeah.
sounds
And
like that
that's
would
what
be,
made it appealing. Like I like
yeah,
was like, I love the idea of being in a 6 month learning group and mentorship, and like also I think I've spent like the last 4 years really focused on learning like all these things that are about business. And I'm like so grateful, and about like technology, and like I value all of that. It's really great. I'm like have entered the 21st century finally. That's fine. Like it's not going away, you know, it's not. So
it's
that's
not.
great. And
Yeah.
like I love
Yeah.
that my spouse will be like, do you know how to do whatever? And I'm like, give me your phone, like I'll do it. And like in the past I would have just always been like, can you figure out all the technological things? Like that's your job, you know? So I value that, but I think I like have missed like spending time like really in-depth learning about the body. And like that's where my like heart learned desires go. And so that is also like I'm like, oh yeah, like I love learning and I'm so grateful for all the things I've learned, but like I sure do miss like that kind of education as opposed to just like, "Ugh, I gotta get my CEUs done. Like, what am I gonna pick? Okay, yeah, that topic's interesting. That topic's interesting. Those are my fulfilled requirements. You know, it was like, oh, this is like actually something that I'm like, wow, I'm like, I'd actually be interested in all of those things, and it would keep my attention, and it would like be valuable, you know, in that way. So that also was like very appealing. And I like thought about the short. I'm like still thinking about the your like intense course. It just it is surrounding American Thanksgiving, which unfortunately for me is not great time. I could see how it could be a great time for other folks, like because they might have those extra days off where it's kind of built in. It's just like it is when we're gonna travel and plan to spend time with our family. So it's like not super ideal for me at that particular week. Um, this year, I guess, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah, it
I
does.
don't know if you planned it then on purpose, like because of the holiday, or it was just like great in your schedule. I don't know if like where the, you're in
Yeah,
Canada, so
kind of a combination of the two. Like it was good in my schedule because my schedule is crazy. So I was
Mhm.
like, there's a window. And then also with some people, people have different relationships with Thanksgiving. Some
Of
people are like,
course.
I have time. I'm not going to go see my family. So this is actually great
Yeah.
because I'm not working.
Yeah.
And so for them, it's good. For other people, they're like, oh no, I just do my family thing. So it's kind of, but in Canada, it's not Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's earlier
Right.
in Canada. So in the
Yeah.
States, I found it's kind of a mix. Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
mixed thing.
I could see
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like some people really love to celebrate Christmas. Other people are like, no way.
Sure.
Please give me something else to do. I don't want to do
Yeah.
Christmas, you know?
Yeah.
So, but
Oh,
for
and
the
I
short
loved
course,
your
oh,
land
go ahead.
acknowledgement, by the way. I just want to say, like,
Oh, very
I
good.
loved that you did that. I was like, also, I was like, I'm in. This is good for me. This works. So, yeah.
That's so
Uh,
great. I love that. Thank you as well. So what I was going to say is if the 6th day was at a different time, is that more resonating with you, like outside of the time, the more kind of concentrated download, or is more the sort of structured environment where you're getting like a larger community, a larger experience altogether? That's more appealing.
yeah, I mean, that's definitely more appealing to me.
Yeah.
But I was like, still like turned on by the value and that I could like I am a habitual crammer. So uh like I don't mind that it would be intense and I would be like, okay, like whatever, a few weeks before I'm gonna like try to like do as much as possible and then go to the thing and have the concentrated like I don't dislike that. I like it, but yeah, I was definitely more interested in the academy, and that's why I was like, I'm gonna book this call because I am interested. I'm just not 100% sure about right this second. But I'm like thinking about it. I've been like thinking about it all week, so
Amazing. Well, I'm so glad that's caught your interest. So this academy does start in September, so it's
yeah.
pretty short around the corner.
Yep.
Yeah, there's the so many different components to it that make it a really enriched program. So it's got all the training for all your core curriculum skills. It's really fascinating work. What they can do to the human body is amazing. And even though the 3-day course was pretty, robust in terms of information for a free course, it's only the tip of the iceberg. Like
Of
there's
course.
so much more to learn. It's really fascinating. And then the marketing side of it, while we're teaching you to reach out for this population, it's also skills that you can apply in other areas. So, you were like, I don't think I can do all oncology or not all trans, but I could do some. I could have some of my practice with that, but not the whole thing. Then, if there's other people that you want to draw in, you'll learn how to talk to them and how to present yourself so that you can draw them into your practice. So, it's applicable skill sets for different populations. And you also mentioned the isolation piece. You're practicing in different kinds of environments. It's hard right now for the sound of it to be stable. You're kind of moving around from place to place, trying different things, keeping your head above water, but it's not like you're not in a very like secure, fully secure environment right now. And so the community might help you feel, even if it's not this September and it's later, it might help you feel like I got people around me. I've got a community to call upon. I've got people I can ask if I'm uncertain about something. I've got people I can celebrate with. Hey, look what I did. And you've got people that you're sharing back and forth with. And it is in this container. It's definitely a structured container, and it's got a start and a finish. So you go through and you learn things in a very strategic format. And then at the end, everybody graduates together. So then you have that experience of like, oh, we did this all together, which is so amazing. And then there's the
Yeah.
opportunity also, because there's some people who are like, I'm not ready to let go of the container. I know it's been 6 months, but I still want to stay in it. And so then you can just roll forward an alumni membership and just stay connected with people. So you can spend your 6 months getting connected with people, and then you can stay connected with them afterwards. So it doesn't go away at the end of the 6 months, which is great.
Yeah.
Um, so the course is all virtual. It's mostly delivered on a Monday.
Okay.
And
I was wondering about that.
yeah,
Okay.
so the longer days where we're doing the core curriculum, that's 6 hours. So you're Eastern time, right, in Miami?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So for you, the classes would be from 1 to 7 p.m.
Okay. On
and
Mondays.
on Mondays. And
Okay.
then the group mentorship calls are 90 minutes, also on Mondays, not the same Mondays, but differing Mondays in the month. And for you, that
Oh,
would be from 4 to 5:30 p.m.
okay.
So it's a doable schedule. You can still do all your work, you can still have your life. And
Is like
then you can
every
just,
other is like every other Monday.
yeah, that's kind of
Okay.
3 or 4 days. Well, I think I froze there. Can you still hear
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, now I can.
It's sort of 3 or 4 Mondays a month, depending on the month. Yeah.
Okay.
So you wanna think about, yeah, at least 3 per month, some 4. The biggest month is the first month because we have a couple of extra training things in there. So we have our opening ceremonies on the Saturday, and then digital technology training on the Sunday, and then our first core curriculum class on the Monday. So the first weekend is, it's more condensed, and then it kind of settles down for the most part into the majority of your Mondays, not every Monday, but most of them, there's something that's going on, either a 6 hour class or a 90-minute class. We suggest to reserve about 8 hours a week for this course. It's a 200-hour program, so there are time things that are a part of it, but it's very doable. So you can still go to work, you can still, do your life things, and it's not going to take away from any of that, but it will add because you're doing something which is like, oh, I'm so interested in this. And it's a great conversation starter as well. And then we help you with ways to reach out into the community around you so that you can draw practice people in. We give you places to look, words to use, images to use. So all of that's laid out for you. And then you can draw people in and you're practicing with them as you go along through the course. So you start out just doing healthy breast massage. You're just calling in healthy breast massage people or chest massage, whatever works. It's all good. And then when you start on the surgeries, you're calling in people that have simpler surgeries to begin with. And then as your learning progresses into the more and more complex surgeries, then you're calling in people who have those types of surgeries, and same with the complications. So you're practicing as you go along in a progressive fashion. And then concurrently, we're helping you research the world around you so that you know who's in your local community that's supporting this population. So you build up your contact list. You're reaching out and saying, "Hi, this is me. This is what I'm doing," and you're able to form those kind of referral relationships with people so that when you're graduating the program, you've got people who know who you are and what you're doing. You've already built up trust with them, and then you're also graduating with paying clientele because you're moving your practice people into paying people while you're in the program. So you're graduating with referral partners and with paid clientele, which is very unusual in the massage world. That's not normal, but it's very useful and very applicable. So it's a really hands-on program. It's designed to get you on the ground results. I started out this work doing weekend courses, and a lot of it was theory, some hands-on, of course, but really people were on their own to try and implement the material. But that's not the case with the academy. With the academy, you're fully supported all the way through, and it is a very safe container, and it is very wonderful to be a part of. So you really have good opportunity for learning, for application, and then a really good transformation on the other side.
Thank you so much for
Mhm.
explaining all that. I'm curious with the practicing and with it being online. Do you have us bring in practice clients while we're doing some of those like 6 hour Mondays? Like, so we're actually practicing and like you're instructing us, or is it like instruction and then go do it and then come back together to talk like feedback? Like, what is because I think
Yeah,
one of the things about being in person that is great is that you're like right there, and then an instructor can be like, but I took like a really interesting I did like a lymphatic drainage online course And in that, the person consented, it wasn't their breast or their chest. So the instructor actually like could also watch us like while we were doing it online, and like mostly to look at our own body mechanics, but it was like very interesting. That was the first time I'd ever experienced that. So I'm just curious how like
Hmm.
that part of it would function.
Yeah. So it's different for the two different courses. With the 6-day intensive, you're bringing people to you and you're practicing during the class time. So the 6-day intensive is 8-hour days, and then 90 minutes of it is devoted to your practice session. Because it's breast and it's sensitive area, cameras are off and I don't see what you're doing. I just get to hear about it afterwards. So during the intensive, your people are coming in, your camera's off, you're practicing alongside the video. Like when you did the self breast massage, the video was playing, that same kind of story. And then you do your practice, and then we get together afterwards and we talk about your session and any questions that you have, anything like that. But I'm not able to actually see what you're doing. But in the academy, it's different. During the actual classes, you're learning about the theory, you're doing lots of different like kinesthetic learning tools, you're watching the demo videos, but then you go away and practice on your own. But then you film your practice sessions and you send the film to me. Everything's confidential. I don't see your patient. They don't have any identifying characteristics. um, and only I see the videos, but then you send the video to me and then I watch and then I give you feedback on what you're doing. So I'm actually able to see your sessions, which is quite different and very valuable, because there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I do light touch work. And then I watch the videos and it's like, you're used to doing deep tissue. So for you, this probably feels light touch. However, you can back off even more. Lots of
Yeah.
people carry so much tension in their hands because they're just used to, kneading and grinding and pressing. And with this, it's to actually, I'm going to just turn because the internet connection is not as stable. And then
Yeah.
with the cameras off, you'll be able to hear me better.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can hear
Okay.
you.
Okay. So yeah, so that's the difference between the two. In the 6-day one, you're doing your practice session. I don't see it, but you can talk about it after. And in the academy, you're practicing on your own time and then sending your video in, and then I review and give you feedback that way.
That's awesome. I love that. That's great to know that. And I think that's a really neat way to do it. Yeah. So you're getting in practice people, they're signing off on, obviously their face is covered, but on being on video for this like private confidential transmission. And then you're bringing them in and it's like you're giving it for free as you're practicing. And then you have like some sort of path of transition that you recommend
Yes,
to ideally turn them into a paying client over time
exactly.
through the 6 months.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good.
So what, I mean, I would like to know, just because I would help me to like make a decision, and even if it was planning for ideally like another period, if it's not right now, although I like I am very interested. Like, what does it look like financially for the 6 month academy?
Yeah. So you are in US funds. So I'm gonna quote it to you in US funds.
Okay.
Now the regular price, if you were going to do monthly, or if you're going to do a one-time payment, um, it's about 3,500 US, and then there's a commitment deposit of 368. And if you want to do monthly payments, that's 592 for 6 months. But if you want to do a one-time payment and you're able to do it in the next 48 hours, then I'll waive the commitment deposit fee, and also you save money um, off of your registration fee. So in Canada, instead of 4,800, it's 4,500. But for you, it would just be a one-time of 3,300. Basically, there's a little bit of fluctuation depending on what the exchange rate is, but 3,303 is the basic for a one-time.
So 3,303 is basic for one time in Canadian or in
That's
American
an American.
dollars?
Yeah. In Canadian
Okay.
dollars, it's 4,500. Yeah.
Okay. And then otherwise it would be like 6 times $600 plus about $400, give or take.
Yeah. Give or
So like
take. Yeah.
4,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
In that range. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. I mean, I feel like that's a very like I wasn't sure what to expect because of the 6 day intensive. And so I was like, but that is like very financially like possible. So
Yay.
yeah, I don't know. I like want to think about it, obviously. But I love the idea of it and I like the structure. I like that I would send in I like really like that I would send in my videos. But so there is no in-person component at all that goes with it, or is there like any optional potential in-person
I don't at the
thing?
moment have an in-person thing, although I do recognize there is value in people coming together in the same room. So I'm often thinking maybe there's a way we could do like a weekend retreat or something and get together and do treatments and do different learning. And I put that around in the hopper. I don't have anything organized on that front at the moment, so you can pretty much count on it being all virtual. But if I can organize one more thing in person, yeah, I have been floating the idea around. Yeah.
And you have like 10 or 15 people and you're looking to have a 25. That's like your cap on your
Yeah.
class size.
Yeah.
Okay.
25 is great. I could go up to 30, but I could not go above 30. There's no way. Like with all the one-on-one attention that people get,
That's a
it's
lot.
different. Like if you're doing pure group sessions, then you could put 100 people in a group and it's the same amount of time. But when you're doing things that have a lot of one-on-one time, then it puts a cap on it, and there's only so much that can be done with one-on-one. So yeah.
What other one-on-one component? I was wondering about this too, like because you're calling it a mentorship. So in addition to just like not just, but in addition to the sending in video and then like feedback, are there other like do you hold any sort of one-on-one time throughout the 6 months or like, what other components come?
Yeah. Yeah. So everybody gets 2 one-on-one calls with me
Okay.
throughout the program. And so you can use that if you have a particularly challenging case and you want to go over it, then you can use a one-on-one time with that. Or if you miss a class because you go away, it is 6 months. So sometimes something comes up and you're like, I really want to go over this lesson. I feel like, I need clarification here. You can use it for that as well. And then for the marketing help and support, if there's something you want, our marketing person to look over your material and be like, is this good? I'm putting this out there. Then you can get one-on-one help with that too. So there's different options for that. Yeah.
So you don't do that. Do you also do that in the group where we're all like sharing our materials that we design and that's but if I wanted to like use a one-on-one time or something, I could do that as well.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
is the only person, so you just mentioned this marketing person, but are you the exclusive instructor or are there other instructors or teachers or other coaching that is part of it? Like you have a marketing person that I guess makes the materials. Like what who is
Awesome.
your faculty?
So I have Marielle who helps with the digital technology training. So she does the tech training call, and then she helps out in the private community. And if people have questions with their tech training, questions with the platform, she's a good person to help with that. And then I have Kirsten who helps with the marketing workshops, the online booking workshops, and then she can help give you feedback on what you're doing, so that yeah, she's another resource to help you there. So I'm the main person for sure. The lion's share comes from me, but I do have some other team members who have their skills that they bring to the table.
But like in terms of the like anatomical content and practice, that's from you.
That's all me. Yeah, that's all
Okay.
me. Yeah.
And Um, so one, I'm curious if after this call, if you're going to be able to send me anything that like lays out some of this, at least in like
Absolutely.
writing. Okay, great.
Yes. Yes,
Or just
absolutely.
like a visual person. I know you're like, have the multiple different learning styles. Um, so how like percentage breakdown if you took about like the entire month, like 6 month course, obviously that you have some of this focus on like marketing and digital technology and you have some workshops, like what is the percentage of like I guess the components, like the theory and then like the practical and then like the marketing digital, because like how would you, like if you were to break it into like 100%, like how would you describe that?
I would say, well, the core curriculum classes, the 4 classes, is about 60 hours spread out over the 6 months. And then or is it about 60? Yeah. You get 10 6-hour classes. Yeah. So 60 hours. And then the mentorship, uh, the marketing workshops, that's 4 90-minute sessions. So that's like 6 hours. And then you've got your other mentorship calls where we're going over your practice sessions and then teaching you about the community reach out. You get 12 of the um, mentorship calls altogether, so 2 a month. And 4 of them are the workshops, and then the other 8 are the other components for helping you apply it. And then there's a time in the private community where you can ask questions. There's action challenges, which we do out that are timed with what you're learning. So, like the first ones are simple. It's like what's your treatment space, upgrading your treatment space, and then doing research for your pride communities, research for your oncology communities, um, you know, doing your community presentations, doing your meetings, doing your networking, all those things. So those action challenges come up. I haven't actually broken it down into like what percent of what is what. That's actually a really good, I could put a little pie chart together that would outline that a little bit more effectively. But I'm always
Yeah.
refining as I go along. So
Yeah.
that's good. No one's asked that question before. So I'm gonna just make a note of percentage breakdown.
Yeah, I think I'm curious because obviously like there's always something to learn, and like I guess what I like about this, that it's like a little bit of a return to like in-person network marketing, which um like for me is something that I took like a little bit more of a return to last year. Like I'm part of a podcasting community, so I've been on a number of podcasts. I've done about a dozen this year. And like part of it was to try to create more like network marketing as opposed to trying to just be in this like digital marketing space, which I've learned a lot, but it's not like 100% taking, you know?
Right.
So I like that, but I also don't feel like, you had someone come on and talk about like about her confidence and all of that. And so I was just curious like how much of this course like kind of touches on that, because I now that that's great. I just like I don't feel like a need in that realm. So because the person talked about it who was your example, like I was like, this is not something I need. So I'm just like wondering if this is like 100% for me. Like, I don't feel like
Mm,
I have that. I don't feel that's not something I battle, is like stepping out or being vocal or being visible. So I wasn't sure. And like, I just, why it's kind of why I asked too, is like, oh, like how much time will we spend in this realm, which I think is great. Love it. Just like, I'm like so definitively interested in the like subject matter, of the kind of like what I
oh
said,
yeah.
like I miss being like that anatomical
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah,
Um,
the there's every month you're getting your core curriculum classes, so there's no month that goes by without the core curriculum. And if you're already feeling confident reaching out to the community around you, that's amazing because then you can just go and you can do it and you can learn. We have one
yeah.
of our mentorship calls where people are doing their introduction and their call to action for when they're doing their introductions to people, they're doing their presentations. And so they get to practice that way.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of it really is we give you the tools on what to do, when to do it, kind of how to reach
Mhm.
out, and then you go and apply it to the world around you. So if you already feel confident doing that, then when you do your reach out to the world around you, you're just going to be starting at a higher level, which is great because then you're going to
Yeah.
form different style of connections. You're going to interact with people in a different way because you're already confident. So you're not going to be spending time learning things that you don't know. I mean, that like going over things you already know. You're just going to be applying the things in the real world in a way which, like, you're going to bring your natural skill set to the table, which is great. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, 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 absolutely.
Okay, good.
No, it's awesome. It just yeah, I was like, oh, that's like I listened to the person and I was like, that's really cool for that person. I want to know like more of the like how to, I was like, but I know a lot of and I assume there might be a few men, but it would be mostly women and trans people in the group, which is fine. It doesn't matter to me what the breakdown is. But I also have been in a number of different like women's groups, and so this is obviously something that comes up a lot around like being visible and like feeling confident and that sort of thing. So I've bounced in and out of certain groups because I'm just like, this is great, but it's not for me, or like this is for me. So yeah, so just I wanted to ask that. And then um I feel like you answered pretty much a lot of my questions. I'm excited to get like a visual breakdown of this just to see it. Can I just share one thing that I didn't know also if it was a Canadian thing or a like a thing in the trans world that I just like a language thing that I wanted to
Yeah,
share. Is that okay?
absolutely. Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, so you use the term trans folks and which I think is fine, but I found that with women and trans folks, there was something that for me that made me feel like it still was a little bit of an othering, like as opposed to saying trans humans or trans people. Um, but I also have seen it in a number of places, and like I am not sure like where the current pulse is on that. And I know that you're always like refining and looking at language, so it was just something that I wanted to share with you. um
Was it
as you
the folks
Yeah,
part?
it's the folks, it's trans folks if it was on its own, but when you say women and trans folks, there's something about
Oh,
folks that makes me feel like that's a colloquial term for human or people. Whereas women is not in any way a colloquial term. It's like um the human term. So it was just something to think about that I felt.
yeah,
And I was like,
love
I'd love
it.
to share this with her because I feel
Yeah.
like you care, and like and I don't know, again, I don't know where exactly the current language appropriateness and wisdom lies within that, but it was like almost like trans folks is fine by itself, but when it was paired together, it made me feel, I don't know, I just like had a little feeling about it. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
share that with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's really
Yeah.
good to know. Yeah, and I'm always refining and language is always changing. It's always getting updated. And so
Always.
yeah, and I'm totally open to being corrected wherever necessary because, I'm always learning too. Like when I started this work, I was like, I don't know anything about working with really any of this population. Like I just find it fascinating and I feel really called to. So it's been a lot of learning over the last decade. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like it's a collective experience for everybody together to help move the needle forward. So I love it when people speak up and are like, "Oh, hey, have you considered this?" And I'm like, "Oh, I will now." That's great. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I again, like I said, I'm not sure too because language does change. But I also just also thought you did such a great job. Like I talked about it with my wife a lot, and I was like, it was really amazing. Like she was like, this is this. But now when we're talking about this person and they have this exactly technical same surgery, like we call it chest surgery, and I'm like, yes, and like that just really, I just really loved. That was just like one of the things I loved. And so that's why I wanted to share the thing about folks because I was like, well, she's Canadian. So also, like, folks might just be different in, just different parts of the United States and also in Canada. So, um,
Yeah, and yeah, it might be a little bit of a cultural difference, but I'm not only teaching Canadians anymore. I'm now
right.
across the border and reaching other people in
Yeah,
other places. So yeah,
which
it's
was
all learning and
awesome.
yeah, I think it's so exciting. And yeah, I'm a person that's like constantly evolving and constantly changing. So to have continually updated information is really important. Yeah.
You're so
Yeah.
awesome. I'm so glad that
Well,
you took this meeting with me and offered it, and I'm so glad that you had the intro course. Like I think it's amazing, and I think that it's awesome to have a movement around it, and like that also just resonated with me. Like when I first started giving massages, I traded with a woman who was also a therapist, and she was like, "Listen, I don't care. Like I really want you to work on like the front of my body, and I don't need you to like. I'm just gonna like, undress the front of my And she was we were trading, so it felt like fine. I was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, I was like, of course this makes sense because when I work on men, like I do a lot of front of the body work and I can work through their abdomen and easily around their chest and sternum. And it's like with all of our taboo nature around just even referring to breasts at all. It's just this like also just really resonates with my original feelings on the topic. So yeah, I think it's great. I think there should be a movement around it, and I'm all in on that front, at least
yay.
at very
I love
least.
it.
So
Oh, that's so great. Yeah, because people who get the memo, they hear it, they're like, I understand the importance of this and I want to be a part of it. That's what helps create that momentum. So if you're feeling it and you're like, I want to be a part of this, then that is amazing and terrific. And I'm so grateful. Yeah. And I wish my
yeah,
video wasn't so glitchy right now so you could be seeing me as I'm seeing you. That would be great. But
yeah,
tech is doing what it's doing. Yeah.
yes.
Um,
Okay,
so is there any other questions that you have? I mean, I normally do have a visual presentation that I'm doing, which is giving you some more information, more details, and I can send you a I can send you an email with the follow-up of
yeah,
everything that we've talked about so you can see it written
yeah,
down.
that would be
Is there
awesome.
any
That would really
more,
help me.
yeah, is there any more questions that you have now?
I don't think so. I look forward to that. I will definitely look at that tonight and just like kind of take stock of like what might be possible like financially. I think it's a very fair price. I just don't know. Like, I'm not really sure. Just my life is very in flux. But I'm like really drawn to it, and I like in my heart I want to jump in, but it's like in the way that I always want to jump in. So I just want to be like thoughtful about that. So,
That's
um,
fair. So, do
yeah,
you want to think about it over the weekend and then meet up again on Monday? Give yourself a bit of time to go through and see what's what.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, and you'll have that written down, like all those the number
I
options
will,
for me also.
all of them.
Great. And
Yep.
it's fine if you put them in Canadian. I'm happy to like transmit it back and forth. I lived
Yeah,
overseas, so I'm used to
the
doing
conversions.
that. The conversions, yeah. I have a little
Yeah,
conversion calculator on my phone.
I love it.
So,
Um,
yeah.
so on Monday, I've got 1 o'clock Pacific, which is 4 o'clock Eastern. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, perfect. And when you say your name, do you say Lisa Joy or do you
Mhm.
just do Lisa? What's your,
I use Lisa Joy. It's like yeah, I use Lisa Joy. Some people call me Lisa, some people call me Joy. Uh it's fine. Like in the beginning, I like Lisa Joy because it's my name, and I like people to know that. And then if it transitions even into like Lee or whatever, a single syllable, that's fine too over time. But yeah, Lisa Joy is good.
Okay, amazing. Well, that's
Thanks.
grand. So, I've really loved talking with you today. I love your enthusiasm. I love your open. And there's space right now. I would love to welcome you in. If you feel like in the spring is better for you, whatever works for you works for me. But if you take the weekend and you think about it, then you can just get started right away. You don't have to wait on anything, and you can
Yeah.
start bringing the skills to the world right away. Yeah, no delay.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I
Yeah,
appreciate you. I appreciate this time. Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
there
you.
you are.
I know. I'm sorry that my camera's off. I really like to be able
Okay.
to see us see each other because
Sure.
yeah, I feel like part of this work, which is so important, is forming the relationship with people who want to do this work and who are feeling called to it because it's very specialized work. Like here, we're not allowed to say specialized, so I kind of sometimes get some language around it. But the truth is, it's specialized work, and for other people who are feeling the call, and I love talking to educated people who are like, I want to bring my skill set to the table, to the world, to make a difference and create an impact in my local community, to grow myself. I love watching people, get lit up from the inside and get empowered and feel like I can do this. Like it's happening. I just think it's so exciting. So I really love the connection part and video is good for that. So we got some of it anyway, celebrate the
We
part that
sure
we did
did.
get.
Yay.
Yeah, so good. All right. Well, I will see you on Monday. You can talk it over with your wife and see how it all fits, and we'll go from there.
Thanks, Erin. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Talk to you soon. Bye.